Well, good day. It's still the 18th day of June, 2021. A new policy has come out from the Department of Justice, which will require all federal agents in the Justice Department, which is FBI, DEA, ATF, Marshals, and whoever else is in there, they now have to wear body-worn cameras. And this is the result of a shooting that took place on June 3rd, 2021, by the Northstar Task Force, which is the Marshals Task Force in Minneapolis. They shot a guy named Winston Boogie Smith. That's his name. I mean, I wouldn't name my kid Boogie as a middle name, but, you know, God bless him. I hope he's in heaven. But be that as it may, what happened is he pulled a weapon on the officers. He fired around. That much is not disputed at all, and the cops did what they had to do. Now, of course, what happens immediately afterward? Nights of unrest. Okay, that happens. And not only nights of unrest, reaction. And the reaction has been that initially the Hennepin County Sheriff's Office, the Minnesota BCA, and I think the Minneapolis PD all have officers on this task force. They pulled them from the task force because they said that the marshals prevented them from wearing body cameras, which their agencies typically wear. Okay. Well, now that's been solved. You know, I guess they can come back to the task force, which is a good thing. But, you know, again, is this good? Is it not good? I'm going to put a short video on just on the press release and who made the press release. And then a real short news clip on the number of people leaving the Minneapolis PD because I think, you know, correct perception of lack of support. Okay. Well, again, yeah, a couple weeks back, the U.S. Marshals Northstar Task Force was involved in a shooting of a guy named Winston Boogie Smith, who was a really bad actor. He went for a weapon. He was a federal fugitive, went for a weapon, fired around. The cops, you know, did what they had to do. Recovered shell casings from his vehicle, but the complaints, you know, the cops weren't wearing body cameras. Well, this led to a argument between, it's not really an argument, but the Minneapolis the Minneapolis police, the Hennepin County Sheriff, and the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension pulled their officers from the Northstar Task Force because federal agents were not wearing body cameras, and they were not wearing body cameras pursuant to their deputization as Deputy U.S. Marshals. Well, you know, again, what I've been doing is trying to track how the administration, you know, the new administration is going to treat use of force situations. And here's my answer. You know, they now want law enforcement officers of all DOJ branches to wear body cameras. So, yeah, is that, I remember this woman. She used to be in AUSA when I worked in Greenbelt. And she got a job in the Obama administration. Now she's the Deputy Attorney General. My next door neighbor is the nominee to be Secretary of the Navy. And here I am in my basement doing videos, you know? It's not fair. It is fair. I'm not a liberal and I'm not a Democrat, and you know, but that just goes to show you, you know, that just goes to show you. But is this the right move? Is it a good move? I don't know. You know, should they be wearing body cameras? Should they not be wearing body cameras? It's, you know, it's something that we need to think about, I guess.
So all the anti-cop rhetoric and push to defund police causing a wave of retirements in the Minneapolis police force. Steve Dykstra is a former officer there who left the department late last summer. Sir, good morning to you. You got up and left Minnesota. You now live and work in Iowa. What's going on back in Minneapolis in the past year? What's happened?
Well, I think as your local reporter just stated, that it's been a steady decline for the city of Minneapolis. Crime is spiking, violent crimes especially. Things are spiraling further out of control there.
And sir, there was obviously the protests were nationwide, in fact worldwide in some cases. Now you have attempts in state legislatures, but also in our Congress for police reform. And that apparently, at least the federal bill, seems to be on track with Tim Scott and Cory Booker and Karen Bass all working on that. But as you see, there's major increases in crime all across the country. Call for everyone here. In New York City, up 22%, Atlanta, 50%, Portland, up 800%, which is almost unthinkable. What do you think America has learned since the death of George Floyd, the murder of George Floyd, and then the conviction of Derek Chauvin?
Well, this goes back before George Floyd. Since around 2015, I know the city of Minneapolis has been backpedaling, taking tools away from police to enforce the law and keep the streets safe. I see the George Floyd event, as tragic as it was, as kind of a buildup of years of backpedaling by the police. When police don't have any tools to use anymore, they feel pretty helpless out there. Mm-hmm. You take away loitering laws, ability to pursue vehicles. You don't have to stop for the police in Minneapolis anymore, thanks to Mayor Frey and the city council.
That is a remarkable
so when you take
thing
away,
to say.
Cops get frustrated.
Wow.
And what you see is chaos, violence, and reoccurring crime.
Steve, just so our viewers know, Minneapolis, 40 officers retired in the last year. 120 took leave of absence. 20% of a police department, 200 Minneapolis police officers have left since 12 months ago. Why did you leave?
I left because I saw our city leadership, city council and mayor, give up our precinct. They had the precinct evacuated before the protesters became violent and approached the precinct. They gave that building to them as a token, as a symbol. Mayor Frey basically stoked the flames and encouraged the crowds to become upset and violent. And he did nothing when the violence first started. He did nothing. He told the department to use a soft-handed approach, which led to what you see on your screen right now, blocks and flames.
So what do I think about the body cameras? I don't really have a strong opinion about it one way or another. I could see during a raid if one person is wearing it. What's going to happen is all this is going to be evidence that's going to have to be turned over to the defense. And a lot of these videos are in state and local. They release everything immediately, and you'll have demonstrators in front of an officer's house, within hours of a shooting, which might be perfectly justified. And right now, an accusation is tantamount to almost, the person's halfway up the rope, halfway up the tree to be lynched. My concern is, they're not the current leadership, and this is the city administrators. These are the county administrators. These are governors. And I think to a certain extent, the current administration do not support law enforcement. It doesn't mean you uncritically support law enforcement. I don't uncritically support law enforcement. I wrote up my own guys for excessive use of force. One of my own guys for excessive use of force, okay? So that's not the point. But the other thing is reflexively siding with the criminal and finding fault and looking for people to hang and operating under certain elitist assumptions. But one elitist assumption that they do not operate under is that they need more protection, So, I mean, are the body cameras good? I mean, all you do now is you see people dying on YouTube, police officers or suspects dying on YouTube because of body cam videos. There's people who've made, tons of money and subscribers off of showing body cam videos, then critiquing what the police do bad, even though the person involved has never made an arrest in his life. But he has 1 million subscribers. I have 1,000. So who knows? But again, it's an open question whether it's a good idea or not. It's a good idea if the footage is protected, and it's not put out there for entertainment value, which it often is. It's bad if it's put out there raw video, and then you have things that are taken out of context. It can be chopped up by the media, a lot of things like that. And then secondly, it just becomes a disaster trying to write up these things. It's tough enough to investigate them as it is. Looking at 7 or 8 body cams, which all show different things, it just complicates matters. Now, sometimes, yeah, we'll acquit the officer. So I've got mixed feelings about it, but what I don't have mixed feelings about is, again, I think those who are in charge, elected officials, appointed officials, they better have our backs, and again, thank you for volunteering to serve in this unhappy and dark period of American history, because it is a dark period in American history. It's not good. This is not a good time to be in law enforcement. It's not a good time to be in the military. I think, we're a badly demoralized country, and a country which has very weak leadership, but you're not weak, because you're going into an area where you have to be strong. So know that my prayers are with you every day, and I hope you got something out of it, but, keep a positive attitude.